Welcome to the show, Liz.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you here today. I know you're going to bring us tons of great value. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, Liz, why don't you tell us about your coolest sales experience when you were the customer?
That is such a hard question because it's so easy, isn't it, to think about all the sales experiences that went bad or that were frustrating, like every car you buy, right? But I don't know. You know what I like? And I can't name one, but you know those restaurants where you go and you don't notice when they're refilling your water or your wine. The service
Hmm.
is so good, but it's so invisible.
Yes.
I think those are the experiences that I appreciate as a customer, right? Where you go in with, say, a girlfriend from the office and you're tired, you've been working all day, and you just want to connect and you don't want to pour over. You're capable of ordering wine, right?
Hmm.
I know my varietals and I have a sense of what I want to spend, but you just want someone to do it for you. And you ask the waiter or the waitress, and they're fun and they connect and they get a sense of what you want. They recommend things, not in a I recommend and you're like, oh my God, it's just lettuce. But they just sort of, they connect with the mood you're in, and they take the thought process away for you.
That is so key. One of my friends was talking about that the other day, and the idea of being surprised. If you can surprise the customer, surprise
And
the
delight.
guest, it's
Yeah.
great. And my
Yeah.
wife has this concept that she always talks about where you under promise and over deliver. So, I think she does that to me a lot. I'm trying to watch her and try to figure that out, but
Like, I think I can get more out of this.
well, that's great. It's a great point. I was a server in college, and I know how that is. You want to sneak and do that, and it makes people, they don't have to worry. When you make it, they don't have to worry. It just makes it a great experience. So,
That's the thing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think I have decision fatigue. I make big decisions all
hmm
day long, and then somebody says, "Do you want to go to, this restaurant or that restaurant?" Just decide. Just
make it
decide.
happen.
Yeah.
All right, Liz. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show today because we're going to discuss a wonderful topic, and you're just a person for this. You come highly recommended, and from what I've learned about you, you are just top notch. But I know a little bit more about you, but my audience may not know a lot about you. Would you mind giving us a little bit of synopsis of who you are, what you do, and bank account, social security number, starting with social?
I think the bank account is empty. And the social security number I could give you, my dad made me, when I got my card when I was 5, I would come downstairs every morning for breakfast. He would stop me and say, recite the social security or you can't come down the stairs. So,
Oh,
but
wow.
I'm, but I'm not going to give it to you.
No way. That's fine.
My day job is I am the head of the digital practice for a public relations firm.
Okay.
So we work with big brands, we work with startups, we work with consumer companies, we work with business to business companies, and we help them reach the people that matter to them, whether that's through traditional earned media or through social media, Twitter, Facebook, blogging, all that good stuff.
Cool. Cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then my evening job, right, or actually it's more of an early morning job, is I blog. I've been blogging since 2009 at a blog called Hello Ladies.
Mhm.
And the name of the blog was actually one day when I was talking to some women about some issues that I thought they should know about. I said, "Hello Ladies, don't you know this?" And literally slapped my head, and that was the name of the blog. And so my passion is really writing, and writing in a way that reaches busy women who may not have time to think about politics or the pay gap or whatever it might be, but delivering a message in a way that I hope they can accept it and act on it. And the blog turned into a book called Mogul Mom and Maid: The Balancing Act of the Modern Woman, and I wrote that, and that came out late 2013. And so the passion and like I said, the morning and the evening job is getting the word out and connecting with women and helping them balance their crazy lives.
And this is why I feel that you'll be perfect for this, Liz. You have an understanding about women and about their some of the needs that they have, and especially in the business world, and some of the things that may be overlooked by a lot of folks who are doing traditional marketing. And specifically, I have a great deal, and this principles for those who are watching and listening today, it doesn't only apply to women, it applies to everyone. The principles that you will get from this episode, but specifically we want to focus on selling to women and understanding that demographic, because we hear there's so many books and so many people are out there. You got to sell to women. You got to have a better way of selling to women.
Hmm.
And it's important, and we want to make sure that we accomplish that in the most appropriate way possible. So why don't you dive into that and tell us why it's so important for business owners, for sales professionals to understand this demographic of selling to women and what the needs are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think what's important is that women are traditionally they're making 80 to 90% of all consumer purchasing decisions. So women are the ones who are deciding, typically in a household, they're the ones deciding what car you buy and what doctors you take the kids to and what clothes they're going to wear and what appliances you're going to put in the kitchen. I mean, all of that stuff. They're the ones deciding what bank accounts and credit cards you're going to go with. So women are massive decision makers when it comes to consumer purchasing. And so many of the big consumer companies don't have women in the marketing, sales, or management teams. So you've got these companies coming up with products, but then not knowing who their audience is because their audience isn't represented.
It's so true, and sometimes you don't realize, like, I guess these companies don't realize how there's such a big disconnect, like such a simple thing of,
Right.
well, I'm having all guys create a product that's going to women. It just doesn't make
Right.
it doesn't
I
make sense.
remember, I had a client who was at a marketing firm, and they were saying they did a big pitch for a product that goes on your kitchen counter.
Hmm.
And when they went in and they presented the new packaging and everything, the all male management team said, "No, it's too girly." But who's getting up and making the coffee in the morning and buying the coffee makers, right? Oops, I just said what it was. Are women, right? But the men were
Exactly.
making the decision about how they would package that up and sell that to the women.
Exactly. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, and this is again why I feel that you would make such an ideal guest for this topic. Let's talk a little bit more, Liz, about what are some of the major differences when selling to women versus selling to men.
Yeah. I don't know if it's so much what's important so much is selling to women versus selling to men or just understanding where your customer is at in
Okay.
life. How's that for good grammar? Where your customer is at.
It's all right.
All right, thanks. We can end sentences and prepositions. I mean, I think, again, generally speaking, some of the differences between selling to men and women are that, and again, this is based on sort of general stereotypical data, right? But
Sure.
that men like to be presented with data. Give me the facts. Just give me the facts. It's got X horsepower. It's got X RAM. It can handle so many megabytes of data, whatever that might be. Whereas women are maybe looking for more of a connection, more of the narrative piece, right? Like, how does this tie into the story of my life, right? My life story right now is I'm crazy busy, I'm working full time, I have two kids, I've got elderly parents, volunteering, and where does that fit into that story in my life, and how is it going to make a difference for me? So again, generally speaking, but I think we're talking numbers versus narrative.
Do you, with the different, I guess there's a good rise. Lately, we saw the book Lean In,
Yep.
and that was I mean, a big surge as far as helping more women get out there and get in higher role. Women in a lot of leadership roles now. I mean, major organization and major companies. What are some of the things that sales professionals could look at when approaching these tycoons or females executives? Um,
That's that's a great question. I think what I just said about the stereotypical sense of selling to men, right? Like, give me the facts.
Mhm.
When you've got a woman who's running a Fortune something company, right, or who's leaning all into her career, and she's probably in a hurry, right? Give me the date. What do I need? She's probably a pretty informed customer. So she probably walked into the selling situation with some research and knowing what she wants. So you don't sell to her like you're going to sell to the woman who is, maybe retired and playing golf and has a lot more leisure time. So roles, that's where I was getting at earlier. Roles, I think, are more important than gender sometimes. Where's that person in their life? What do they have going on?
How would you encourage a salesperson to better understand these roles? I mean, we talk about it, and like you said, we can talk more so about like the stereotypical data. But if I was you're coaching me right now as a sales rep, and I'm entering into that market, what's some recommendations you'd give for me to understand that role better?
I mean, I think it's sales 101, right? It's asking questions and it's listening. I mean, one example I have is, so I went to buy a car last year, I think it was. And again, and I tend to be, because I'm a control freak, right? So I tend to be a really informed customer when I walk into most selling situations. So I knew exactly what I wanted, what I was willing to pay for it, and I knew what they had on the lot, because now you can go online and see what these dealers have on the lot. So I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew that they had it. I wasn't excited about this purchase. So years ago, I bought one of the first BMW Z3s. Remember, I'm dating myself. You're probably young, you look like you're a lot younger than me, but it was the James Bond car, and you had to like order it 9 months in advance, and it was this little red convertible. I lived in LA at the time. First time ever in my life that I had a new car. My parents never had new cars. I never had a new car. I was trading up from a Toyota Tercel with no air conditioning, living in this like brand new BMW that they were only making 30,000 of, right? So it was such an exciting time in my life.
Yeah.
Fast forward, kids, mortgage, and I'm trading in a gray Honda Accord for a gray Toyota Camry. Like, I could care less. Same car, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
And I called ahead. I said, this is what I want. They told me they had a guy waiting for me. I drove there on my way home from work. It's about 7:30. Haven't seen the kids. Haven't had dinner. Been out all day. And I have it all written down on a piece of paper. I'm like, okay, this is what I want. And he's like, let's go for a walk. And we get up, we start to walk. I'm like, wait, whoa, where are you going? And he said, he's like, I want to show you the cars. And I'm like, I don't want to see them. They're all the same to me. Camrys, Accords, gray, mom car. Like, I don't care. And I'm like, sit down. I'm not going outside. I don't want to walk around. I don't want to drive. So we sit back down, and I pass the piece of paper. I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I'm paying. And he passes it back. He goes, let's talk about your dreams and your dream car. I'm like, I had my dream car in 1998. Now I have goldfish in the back seat. Stop. So anyway, long answer, but, and I finally I said to him, he was a new young guy, and I said, there are going to be times in your life when you're going to have an easy sale. And I understand that you've been trained to upsell, to take the customer through the process. I've been through sales training. Now is not that time, right? I am an easy sale. Recognize that and close. So.
Hey, and you know what? Some people probably botch that all the time. And I can give other examples too, where people have just totally botched a deal. I've botched deals before because I'm just like, it's against protocol. What's going on? Don't give me money yet, Liz.
Right,
Calm
right.
down. No.
I was trained not to negotiate price until I asked these 27 questions, right?
I'm on 25 right now, so slow down, please.
So again, that was maybe a little bit of a long, rambly answer, but I think the answer is, listen and read the situation.
And and you're totally right with that too. In a sense, we kind of may have answered this question, but just would love to get your thoughts as well. We have a great deal of the women listening to our podcast and in our community. What about women selling to women? Is there anything, does that make it easier? I know we have a lot of gender where male or
right.
in a lot of sales role.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to say I love doing business with women. I was just actually meeting with a woman this afternoon, and big hug at the end of the conversation. She's a potential client, and we exchanged, compliments on our necklaces, and we said, God, it's just so fun to work with women because you connect, right? So there's the potential, there's the opportunity when women work with women to really make a connection. Mm-hmm. Into whether is that a picture of your kids, or where'd you get those shoes? Oh my God, they were discount. You're kidding, whatever it might be. There's an opportunity there for women to really connect with women. But I think overall, one thing to watch is to make sure that you don't assume that the woman you're selling to is the woman you are, right? Watch out for that focus group of one. Yeah. I know what I like, so she's a woman, she must like this too.
No, that makes sense too. I to be honest, Liz, I didn't really think about that before. I didn't think like how a woman can just totally get connected right away with some of those different things. And I would imagine that it probably could let down the guard a little bit easier than to say this is a pushy sales guy trying to, the stereotypical guy. Whenever you ask anyone what's a stereotypical salesperson, it's that guy, slicked hair and so forth, and Rico Suave type dude who's trying to, swindle you out of money. And I think that guard goes up with that. But this is, again, is self-proclaimed Donald's data, not necessarily facts.
But I mean, ultimately at our core, we're all the same person when we go home at the end of the day, right? We all want to feel like we all want to, our kids or our partners or our pets, whoever it might be, to, be proud of us, feel good about what we do when we get home at the end of the day, feel like, we were ultimately a good person. And so, I think that's what the core in any sales situation, if you can just get to it.
Is get to that, yeah, get straight down to that individual and
Right.
who they are and connect on
They
that
might
level.
have the slick back hair and the, the obnoxious tie or the, power shoes, whatever it is, but ultimately someone in there is just wants to feel good about themselves.
And that's why I took off my tie today and I, shaved for just to make
And
sure.
I took my shoes because they were hurt.
Don't worry, no one will ever see them. You should see my
Exactly.
shoe right now; they're all scuffy. No, but you bring up some very good points on ways that we can approach it and approach selling, not only to women but also to men. But the idea of understanding the roles, understanding who you're going after, and maybe sometimes to recognize that maybe situations would be a little bit easier. That we're all human being when it's all said and done,
Mm.
and we have to think about that in the way that we present ourselves. Do you have any personal examples of how sellers tailor towards your needs? I know we had a not so good example with this
The car.
Toyota guy.
I got the car. I was like, look, I'm here. I have it at dinner. I'm getting this damn car before I go home. Right? Um, Good examples of. Can you reframe the question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure. You when a sales rep was able to tailor towards your need as an individual was as opposed to where they were pushing their own agenda
Mm,
onto it.
yeah. Um, yeah. Certainly, I think of buying furniture where the salesperson really takes the time to understand how you live. How you prioritize aesthetic versus durability. Do you entertain? Will there be kids bouncing on the furniture? That kind of thing. I think I've had some really good experiences around that. Uh, and then, I think of so I'm just trying to think of things that you purchase, rather
Sure.
you sales situations. I think about the salon. I tend to, there are many women who think of their salon visits as, their downtime, their relaxing time, catching up and gossiping with their stylist or the manicurist. Then there's me who's like, this is just maintenance. There are 27 other places I'd rather be. Skip the blow dry, skip the coffee. I don't want the head massage. Like, throw the color on and let's move, kind of thing.
Here's one that another question I thought about, Liz. And I have the same problem with my hairstylist too.
That'd be the
See,
number two.
the idea too of I found my experience that some sales reps think that the best way to connect is flirt when not necessarily that's not the case. Like I have to, be this, you know, come across as this flirtatious individual or try to sweet talk a woman into to thinking that I am the best. What are your thoughts on that, and what advice would you give to sellers in that
I think
situation?
people are probably flirting with you way more than they are with me. You must have more experience than I do. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're being condescended to, right? Or talked down to. Back to that restaurant example I was talking about at the beginning. If I go into a restaurant and say, can you just pick out a wine for me tonight? I don't want the wait staff to automatically assume it's because I can't order wine. I'm too much of a girl, right? It's just, I'm tired, make a decision. I want to spend this time chatting with my friend. And so, yeah, not to automatically assume it's because I'm helpless or, I need you. It's just, hey, can you help me out kind of thing. Yeah, certainly, it's nice to feel appreciated as the customer, to feel, sometimes I go somewhere and I want to feel like the queen because my life is hard, right? It's busy. I'm exhausted.
You have the
Whatever.
day gig and you have the night gig, so
I got a lot of
it's
gigs going on, right? So it's nice to feel like the center of the salesperson's attention, whatever the services you're buying. Certainly, the services I buy at work too, right? The marketing programs and the software, but not to cross that line and think just because I want to feel appreciated or I'm asking for your input doesn't mean that I need you to pat me on the head and teach me everything. And I've walked out of sales situations where it's like, do you understand? Do you get it? I'm like, yeah, I'm not a moron, and I don't want to do business with you.
Don't try to put me beneath you.
You're right, right.
Exactly. I mean,
Don't take my kindness for naivete or whatever that quote is, right?
yeah, we'll find out. We'll put it in a show note somewhere. No, it's great. I mean, it makes a lot of sense with our the discussion as far as to recognize individuals and
Mhm.
to recognize their needs, recognize their roles, and like you said, some lot of sales 101 there. But just understanding that yes, different roles, people buy different ways, but
Right,
it doesn't necessarily mean that one is beneath the other or whatever. It's just being able to understand those individual roles and how to speak to those individual roles and how
right,
to present the value that they're looking for more
right.
precisely.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? We all value different things at different times,
Yeah.
right?
I,
Most valuable thing I have right now is time, right?
of course, yeah. I mean, yeah, literally, you're probably leave one thing and start the other right away. So it makes total sense. Here's and I know we can stay on the call all night, Liz, and probably could glean a lot from you, but I don't want to waste your time because time is valuable right now. But what I do want to find out though is just a couple more questions before we wrap up tonight.
Sure.
Specifically, one of them, if there's one major takeaway you'd like a rep or an entrepreneur who's selling a product trying to go after the market of women, what would
Yeah.
that one major takeaway you'd want them to leave the show with today?
That takeaway would be, and this is sort of my pet message, right?
Yeah.
Is that not all women are moms of infants or toddlers. I
Mm.
feel like the way women are marketed to and sold to right now, that many marketers and salespeople think that we're all the same woman. We're mom, right? And we're home and we have a kid in our arms or on our hip, so which means they're an infant or a toddler.
Don't forget soap operas.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right? We're not all home eating bonbons and doing whatever we do. Although that would be nice. And so, that even all moms are, and first of all, not all women are moms, right? And second of all, don't call me mom unless, I gave birth to you, right? That's another huge one.
Yeah.
Just this whole marketing to mommy. I'm not your mommy. I'm my mother, but I'm not your mommy, right? And so not all women are mothers, first of all. And second of all, not all mothers are the same, right? A mother of an infant has a whole different set of needs and issues and concerns and need for products and services than a mother of elementary school or a teen or the kids who are now moving home because they can't get jobs and they're coming back in your house. Oh my, right? The mother who is home during the day and does her shopping when the rest of us are at the office has a different set of needs and expectations and different spending patterns than the mother who is at work, who might make her decisions a lot faster or shop at the grocery store late at night. But you know what? During her lunch hour, she could be dropping tons of cash because she's running out and get everything done at the same time. So that's the main message. It makes me crazy that I feel like so many people just market to this mom.
Yeah. So, and it goes back to your idea of understanding that individual, understanding those roles, and understanding the real
Yeah.
the demographics of your market, as opposed to blindly saying this coffee maker is too girly.
Right, exactly. If it was indeed a coffee maker.
If it was a coffee maker, I think it actually maybe it was a microwave personally.
Hey,
So
hey,
now, Liz, what are some of the projects you're working on? I know you're busy and I know you're doing a lot of great things.
well, thanks. Well, where my head is right now. So again, think about the fact that not all women are moms. So I wrote that book,
Uh-huh.
Mobile Mom and Maid, and it was all about the many roles that working mothers have, and the fact that even though we might be in the office and we might be leaning in, we're still probably doing most of the housework. So I'm not saying don't sell us soap detergent. Unfortunately, we still the ones who use it. I'm just saying we might buy it at different times. But now I'm really focused on women who are balancing their kids and their careers with their aging parents.
Ooh.
Yeah. Another huge movement or trend that's hitting this country. So I don't mean to bore you and go into these details.
No.
10,000 people turn 65 every single day in this country right now. We are facing, some people call it the silver tsunami, right? I mean, here's a real opportunity for marketers and salespeople, is catering not only to the people who are aging and turning 65, but the people who are caring for them and how
Mm.
that impacts our lives. So that's the next book that I want to write. That's where I'm really blogging on that topic a lot right now. And how do we help women navigate that? Because there are a lot of similarities to being a working mother, as there are to being what I call a working daughter, but then there are some major differences.
And it's funny you brought that up. I have one of my a friend that individual. It's a guy. It's a gentleman, but he in his household he is probably baby boomer age, but he's taking care of their in-laws,
Mm,
the mother-in-law, as well as some of his older children are back home,
yeah.
and then now you have they have kids as well. So it's kind of like a weird demographics now where the household is kind of morphing. So it makes sense that you're bringing that up. So
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, again, I think it's a huge opportunity for marketers. I think it's a huge opportunity for salespeople to understand those pressures. And personally, I want to do more, create more content and talk to more women in that situation and help them navigate.
well, I'm excited for that content. And what we're going to do, we're going to link back to your blogs, if that's okay, and to make sure that our audience can get connected to you there. Is that the best way for them to get connected to you if they want to get connected?
Yeah, yeah. HelloLadies.com. That's it.
HelloLadies.com. Hello, ladies. Come
Hello.
on.
Think about this. Yeah. Got
I'm
it.
going to do that for every time I see the email.
Awesome.
But Liz, we're excited to have you on the show today. We're grateful for the thoughts and the insights and the information that you brought to us. And I know it's going to definitely be helpful to a lot of folks, and especially your blog. We're going to connect back to that and to make sure the audience get in touch with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem.